Well, when I get in the ring, the main thing is I know I'm prepared because I always train hard. And that's the first thing you want. That's one thing you don't have to worry about when you climb in the ring. You know what you did, what you're supposed to do before you get in the ring. You kind of like get that feeling about yourself, and that's what it mainly takes. I mean, it's mental when you jump in the ring. Well, there was a couple instances where I had to basically defend myself in a couple situations. One with a kid that we got into it before. I whooped him, but then he went into the boys' home maybe a couple years later, and he started something again. And I used one of Bruce Lee's straight right punches and dropped him on his butt. And his aunt came out to save him again, and it was over. And the second time was the instance where I was telling you a while back, where a kid was calling me out my name and stuff, and I caught him coming home from the Y, and I punched him in the face. And for some reason, I did turn my back and did a spin side kick. I don't know why I did it. It just came natural to do it, and he broke his nose, knocked him down, and I was like, I just felt that this was what I wanted to do, and so I just kept training and training and training. I contacted the guy that was training the battalion at that time, and I started training with him. Just basically, I was over in the corner basically doing my own thing because I always was doing boxing. So we went through drills and stuff. I learned some drills and stuff from them. And so I got on the post team. I made our company team, and then we went to fight to get on the post team. And the guy I fought was a really wild dude, and he stopped me in the first round with the second round with a wild shot, and it was just a mistake that I made, and I got picked for the team, and he didn't, because I was the better fighter. And a lot of times when you fight, I mean, you might lose, but that's where you're going to learn more from, because you're going to see what you do wrong. And after that, I did great, and I fought a guy that was going to turn pro. The second year I was in, and he was going to turn pro. He had like over 100 fights, and it was like my third fight, and he beat me. And I came back, and I fought another guy after I bought some new bags and stuff. Me and the guy went up to San Francisco to one of the martial arts stores I used to buy stuff from a long time ago, and I found it. So I bought a double M bag and had it hooked up in my room, and I just worked that bag nonstop. And the kid I fought, I knocked him out clean. I try to teach them to respect their parents, because if they really love class, then they're going to do that. Almost all of them do that. They always respect their parents. Plus, when the first time I teach them something, I show them how to do something, it's just the look on their face. It makes me feel good, to see that they're learning and they're respecting what they're doing, and they change. I've taught my first school. I had a class full of, in this small room, I had 20 kids in it. This was my very first time I was teaching kids, and they loved it so much. And we was also in the newspaper at that time, and we went to a tournament down at the YWCA, and they all just cleaned house, and that was my first tournament fight, and I ended up knocking the guy out with a kick to the head. So it just the feeling and the look on their face when they do something that I've shown them, and they can come back maybe a year later and still do it, that shows me that I'm doing right.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Change your lead.
This is my car wash every time.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I was like, Shoot, I was a little kid. My parents wanted to get me into boxing, and then they heard about Earl through the grapevine. We came here. You know, he was more than welcoming. I couldn't even skip a rope when I first walked in this place, man. I was a clumsy little kid, and it took some time, but he turned me into a fighter. I think after a couple months, I had my first fight. It was here in St. Joe's at the Civic Arena. And then just, you know, more and more amateur fights after that. Before I knew it, you know, I was a teenager and I was still fighting under Earl as an amateur. I think my last amateur fight would have been probably late 2014. I turned pro pretty early with Earl. And then he was with me through most of my pro career.
Me and my brother Tavares, we were Earl's very first karate students. Actually, pretty much started off in the basement of our house down in Masani. From there, I remember we moved into Horseman. I want to say, wow, I was elementary school sometime when I started doing karate with Earl, but Earl's been in my life since I was a baby. Him and my dad were like best friends.
The moment that I realized Earl was, you know, the real deal and one bad dude was when I saw him kick a bag that was, you know, 2 feet higher than my head. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And I think I finally got to spar Earl. I was probably 13, 14. He was working with me. He was taking it easy on me, but man, he was one of the fastest people I'd ever shared the ring with.
I knew Earl was the real deal as a kid, man. Honestly, we went to there was no tournament that we went to that we didn't clear the tournament, you know. And then Earl, like the entire crowd couldn't wait for Earl to hit the ring. Like everybody that came from Kansas City all over, when they knew Earl Walker was on the card and was gonna fight in this karate tournament, the gym just got packed. Everybody knew his story about being a self-taught martial artist, and nobody could believe that this man was as good as he was.
You're littler than me, Mark.
Yeah, right.
Right off the bat, like, you know, it doesn't take very long to watch Earl, especially like when he's sparring and stuff, to know. I found out about him through one of my through one of his students that I worked with, and yeah, he was already pre-framing me. When I saw how good his other students were, and then seeing how much better he was, like, yeah, it doesn't take very long to be impressed by him.
Defense is important to know if you're ever faced with a dangerous situation practicing death.
I feel like Barney Five. And joining us this morning is martial arts expert and instructor with Jeet Kune Do, Earl Walker. Earl, we're glad to have you here.
Why, Earl?
Your mind, as far as getting yourself out of the situation, is better than getting in one. But if you get in one, you won't be able to handle it. It's sinking. Everybody can do that.
Right.
And it doesn't stop you. You should be cutting your hands up so you can get that effect. Okay, we're going about that. We're going down to martial arts academy, 924 classes. Let's take a look.
I think it was a couple of years went by before he actually invited me to his first tournament. And then after I went to the first tournament, of course I was a little squeamish because of all the punching in the face and stuff like that. But then after actually going to a number of them, I was the #1 cheerleader. Yeah. You don't have individuals that go that long, that far, and then have the respect after training yourself. A lot of people probably think, oh, well, he's no good. And that's how it was, generally in the beginning. But now, even 40, 50 years, people are still go up to him, hi, Mr. Walker. Oh, I remember you in class. You used to teach my son. You showed my child discipline, and things like that. So I do have to pat him on the back for coming this far, doing everything on his own, starting with his paper route money to purchase his first bag, getting his first book, and taking it as far as he has. Yeah.
My dad has had a humongous impact on me from the time I was 5 years old. I did martial arts under him, Jeet Kune Do, and then I did that for about 7 years until I turned 12, and then I switched to boxing and did boxing for about 8 years. Having my dad as my coach was awesome. He kept me motivated. He kept me on my toes. He didn't let me give up. He didn't let me fail. He gave me constructive criticism. When I found out, like, when he was the real deal, it was when I was younger, and he would break boards with his fingers. And then I would watch him do all kinds of like Bruce Lee moves. So my dad's awesome.
Hello, my name is Denai Walker and my dad's name is Earl Walker. What makes my dad amazing is how he trained himself in martial arts and also passed his knowledge down to many others in the ways of martial arts. He also showed many people what martial arts can do by competing and winning multiple times while receiving the praise from his little fan base, including me as a kid. And then he went on to train me and a couple of my friends in the ways of martial arts and self-defense so that we could get ourselves out of sticky situations. He always made class fun, and everywhere I went, someone always knew who he was. And that's, to me, why he is the real deal.
The moment that I realized Earl was a real deal was when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. He used to make movies back when we were kids, and it was a karate movie, and he had like a showing for it at the gym, and we were all sitting there with popcorn, and this is a moment that I'll remember for the rest of my life. Earl ran on the movie. He ran and jumped up over the ropes of the ring into the ring and just started a fight scene. Now I'm just sitting there with my popcorn like, oh my! And then ever since then, I mean, I wanted to be like Earl Walker. That was the moment.
Wow. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was really my first fight. You know, he put a lot of confidence in me as well as I put confidence in him. But it was my first amateur fight, man. It was like I trained for like 2 weeks, and I actually went in there and knocked the guy out in like 18 seconds. It's like, man, I like this stuff really do work. You really know what he's talking about, man. So I had to give him everything I had. Yeah, it was an amazing feeling though. It really was.
I believe the moment I realized Earl was the real deal when I got to see all the fighters coming through, seeing the different type of backgrounds they all had, and he was still able to teach us one way and get through us to one way. He didn't teach nobody different in my eyes. Everybody came from the same guy with the same morals and the same background. He had the same routine with us.
I remember one time fighting in Cleveland. We were on Showtime, and a trainer that everybody knows, Patsy Collins from overseas, told me something that Earl been telling me forever. And I said, Earl, you've been telling me this forever. He goes, I know, man. I've been trying to tell you. He goes, you won't listen to me though. You listen to other people. I said, no, man. I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to you. But he's like, I mean, I've had Buddy McGirt. I've had some big name trainers tell me that Earl Walker is a hell of a trainer, man. I mean, they're like, dude, yeah, your coach knows what he's talking about. Listen to your coach. I said, oh, I will.
I would have to say the first time I realized Earl was a great coach was after about the first month of being with him. He's just got a very unique coaching style where he pressures you or gives you the sense of pressure to compete and to train hard, but at the same time, he's not overwhelming with it. He kind of lets you move at your own pace too, and he understands that everybody is different.
When he started teaching me, he made my stand up a lot better than anybody else has, and my stand up wouldn't be near as good if it wasn't for Earl. You know what I mean? He helped fix the kinks in my game and made it a lot better.
The reason why I trained myself in martial arts, I was the third of three brothers, and I was like the bad one of the family, and I always liked to fight. And when I saw the Green Hornet come on the air, I didn't realize how much more than just my hands I could use. So I started practicing some of the kicks on the playground, and after I did that, I liked the feeling. Some of the techniques I used, they were effective. So I just started training. I just started training. I fell in love with it. I wanted to be an actor like Bruce Lee. So I started training, trained some of my friends. Um, then I bought magazines, books, trained in my backyard. I was out in the snow. I shoveled the snow, and so I could train. And I trained every night when I got out of school. I'd run in the morning, go to school, run home, homework for about an hour, train for about 4 hours. So, that's how dedicated I was in doing it.
What are you doing now? Bo's working for me, and Luke's working for eighth nationally, top 8 in the country. And this year he placed second. Luke used to wrestle the shit out of this guy. I mean, he's good, don't get me wrong, but working up to it. Colby's still working up to it too, so I don't feel that bad. Look at that.
Switch side. There you go. Hold it down with your left hand. Come right there. Keep your elbow there. Like that. A little more. Bigger. Go pop.
Got it. I'm coming across.
Right here. Twist your waist at the end. Boom. There you go. Come straight up. Boom. Hands on the hand. Back up. Good. Go back like this. Go. On the leg. Left, right. Back up. Look out for what? Back up. There. There you go. Back up. Right here. Right here. Right here.
Natural.
Vincent. Boom.
Let me do it again. Slow.
Boom.
There it goes.
Boom.
There you go. Punch.
Pop, pop. There you go. The reason why I started teaching people is because after I fought in a couple tournaments and I was really successful, and a lot of people wanted to come and see me fight in Kansas City, so I opened up a school, started training a bunch of kids. We went to some tournaments and they did excellent, and we stretched it out. Went to Kansas City and started fighting. I opened up another gym, and then had some kids fight there. I fought a few times. Then I moved to another gym and had a big following there. We had a lot of boxers. We started doing grappling. I had some books by Gene LaBelle and some other grapplers. I had Foot Throws by, I can't think of his name right now. I had Choi Lei Flip by Leo Fong. And I just worked techniques that would be effective to me. Nothing complex. Everything was simple. And I just trained. I went down and sparred with Chuck Wolf, who was a light heavyweight kickboxing champion. He's a good friend of mine, and I went from there. And I had a big following. People just fell in love with what I do, and I'm grateful for all the people who took the time for me to train them. Hey, see ya.